In this tutorial for Team Yankee, I'm going to discuss the assault sequence and who can assault. So just like there's a sequence when you shoot, there's a sequence you go through for artillery, there's also a sequence for assaulting, and it's on page 57 of your rule book. First thing is you charge into contact, then let's say it's you charge into contact, the opponent does defensive fire, they roll the hits, you make your saves. If everything's okay after that, you push into enemy positions, you assault, you check to see if the assault is over, test counterattack, and either counterattack or break off. And I'll go through these in some separate videos. So that's these steps you go through. But before we go through any of those, we need to know who can actually assault. So you basically have four types of units. The first one is infantry. And there are going to be some other restrictions, so stay tuned for the rest of this video. Watch the rest of it. I'm just going over the basics first, and then I'm going to go a little more in depth. But infantry can assault other infantry. Let me get some. There we go. They can assault other infantry. They can assault armored tanks, and they can assault unarmored tanks. And that's it. Now, aircraft are never involved. Whether strike aircraft or helicopters are never involved in assault, so they will not do any assaulting, and they cannot be assaulted. So just don't worry about aircraft. So they can assault any of those. Armored tanks, who can they assault? Infantry. That's it. So they cannot assault other armored tanks and unarmored tanks. So infantry is all they're going to be able to assault. Unarmored tanks can assault nobody. They cannot initialize an assault, but if they are assaulted, say these guys come in and initiate the assault, they will defend themselves. So they will never initiate the assault, but they will defend themselves. So now we can figure out who can assault what. What's the restrictions we have? So we're going to go a little more in depth. This applies whether it's infantry and armored tanks. It's going to apply to both of them. Okay, the first restriction, and I'm just going to use some of these armored tanks here, and they want to assault these infantry. So we got some infantry out here. The first restriction is who's ever going to assault has to be within 4 inches of the target they're going to assault. If they're beyond that 4 inches, they cannot assault. Now, if they moved more than 10 inches, they cannot assault. That includes if they use some type of movement order. So if this tank moved more than 10 inches, it can only do tactical, so that's okay. But if it did any dashing, even if it didn't go 10 inches, can't assault. So any dash movement, whether it's 1 inch, 10 inches, or in this case 16, can't assault. If they do movement orders, there is a restriction on it. The only one they can assault with, if they did them, was follow me. If they did blitz moves, shoot and scoot, cross here, or dig in, they cannot assault. Now, with follow me, you notice it adds 4 inches? So if they move 10 inches and then do that follow me, they get to go 4 more inches. That's 14 inches. Cannot assault. So you can do like move up 7 inches, do that follow me, and do 3 more inches, and then you're 10 inches, you're fine. So any movement that takes you over 10 inches and any dash movement cannot assault. Now for this next one, I'm going to have some infantry. So we got these infantry out here. And one of the things is, if you're wanting to assault, but you're pinned down, can't assault. You've got your heads down, you're too worried to attack. So if you're pinned down, can't assault, because remember, you can't go closer to the enemy. Now they will defend themselves. Anybody that's assaulted will defend themselves. So if you're pinned down, cannot assault. Anybody that does anything to do with the artillery strike that turn cannot assault. So these carnations, I'm going to move these men out of the way. Oh, one other thing about infantry teams, heavy weapons cannot assault. So if we look at this, they can assault, oh, heavy weapon. So this light machine gun team, if I had it out there, could not assault, and neither could this group. The rest of them can go in and assault if they don't have the restrictions that I'm going through. So remember, heavy weapons cannot assault. All right, so I'm going to move these guys back out, and we're going to talk about some artillery. So we've got these artillery pieces here, this artillery unit. They shot some artillery, can't assault. If, let's say, this HQ unit spotted for them to do some artillery strike, it cannot assault. Anybody that has any involvement in the artillery strike, whether observing or actually doing a shooting, cannot assault. One thing I will say also, since we're talking about artillery, is you have an observer. Observers are independent teams. So if we look at their card, independent. If they are independent, will never assault. They will defend themselves, of course, but they will never initiate the assault. So whether he's spotted for the artillery strike or not, he will not initiate the assault. All right, we got a couple of helicopters. For some reason these Cobras are out in the open, and the Shoka decides to shoot because the Cobras are now getting ready to shoot at him. So he's going, I'm going to shoot them first. So he does some anti-aircraft fire on the opponent's turn. He takes out one, they miss, and he survives. Now it's their turn. Since he conducted anti-aircraft fire on the opponent's turn, cannot assault. All right, let's get these men back out here. So these have followed all the rules so far. They're all able to assault. They're all going to be within 4. They didn't move more than 8, except for they can't because they're a heavy weapon. When you shoot on your shooting step, whether you moved or not, and you want to assault with them, they have to shoot at their moving rate of fire. If they didn't move and they're going to shoot at their halted rate of fire, cannot assault. So they could shoot at their halted rate of fire if they didn't move. The rest of these, if they want to go in and assault, do their moving rate of fire. So don't forget about that. One other thing I'll say about shooting is when you are shooting and you're doing your reduced rate of fire, you can shoot at any target you want as long as it's within 8 inches of a team you're going to assault. So let's say for some reason, these tanks are back here. Actually, I'm going to put I'm going to put this, and maybe there's some unarmored tanks back there. So they're going to want to assault these guys, but they're worried about maybe some defensive fire from them coming in, and I'll cover defensive fire in another video. If they're going to assault them, say they're going to assault them, they can shoot at them if the target is within 8 inches of who you're going to assault. So are they? Yes. So they can shoot there. They're going to charge into them. Are they within 8 inches? Yes. So if this tank was back over there and these guys were down here, well, that's within 8. So who's ever assaulting this could shoot at that, but it's beyond the 8 for them, let's say. So who's ever assaulting this cannot shoot at that. And the same situation, we're going to move these down just a little bit. Okay, that's past the 8 inches. So who's ever assaulting this cannot shoot at them, but who's ever assaulting them can shoot at them. So just remember that 8 inch, within 8 inches of the team you are going to assault at your reduced rate of fire, that's who you can shoot at. You can still shoot at them also. It's just if you're thinking about other targets to try to reduce that defensive fire coming in, they have to be within 8 inches of who you are going to assault. All right, so let me get these men out of here because I want to talk about one last thing is, okay, so we got this unit of tanks that's getting ready to assault. And they're like, you know what? I really wish I had more to assault with. Well, there's your company HQ, your formation HQ. He can join them and they can assault. Remember, still have the restrictions. did they move more than 10 inches and stuff like that. We're going to say they're all okay. He can join this unit and go in for the assault with them. Or he can go, I'm going to go in by myself. So your HQ can join a unit if close enough, or just go in by himself, or just let them go by themselves. So you have that option with your HQ. And that is going through the assault sequence and who can assault.